Okay everybody, today I'm doing a review on all of the Suzume tools that I own. So I've got two different sets of open-end ratcheting box wrenches. We've got our 1/2-inch torque wrench. We have our digital 3/8 torque wrench. We got these super nice extra long, these are box wrenches that are ratcheting and they have a swivel. I've got a toolkit that's specifically built for technically taking care of your bicycle, because it's got several different Allen keys, Phillips heads. It has torques as well as a couple sockets. You've got extensions, and this is a torque wrench as well, so you can tune up your bikes. It's kind of a kit that they specifically designed to take care of maintaining stuff like your mountain bikes, BMX bikes, stuff like that. And then we've got a toolkit, which is kind of like their general toolkit, and that has several different sockets, deep well, short well, extensions, swivels, and an adapter that you could put inside of a drill. I'm going to go through each of these different tools, tell you what I like, what I don't like, what I think could be improved. Overall, I'm a fan of Suzume tools. That's why I obviously have so many of them. I've got a lot of other types of tools as well, but this is kind of just a good overall starting point if you're looking for economical but reliable tools. Let's go ahead and go through this and I'll let you know what I think. Okay, I will zoom in on some of these and point out some of the things that I feel like could be improved on and let you know what I do like about it as well. But let's just do the first general overview of this ratcheting flexible head wrench set. So they're both 12-piece. You've got metric and standard. Now I like the idea of being able to carry them. I put them in my toolbox like this. I don't have another rack that you can obviously put them on. You could order something or purchase an organizer where they could be held. Now I like that you can carry it and they don't come apart. They are difficult to take apart. So this is where I feel like there could be area of improvement. It's just a plastic retainer clip that holds them in place. My little hack that I've had is I just start to pull up one of the shorter wrenches and then it pops open. But that's kind of a nuisance when you're trying to get to your wrenches and you got to fight to open it up. It makes it a little bit difficult. They are very, very tightly placed together. So even though they do have the swivel head that you can adjust, which is fine, they are pretty tight in their spacing. Now it doesn't take up a lot of space in your toolbox, but that's something that I think they could probably adjust and make a little bit easier. They obviously have a really nice swivel. They've got a good coating to them. I think it's got like 72 teeth for the ratchet. So you can definitely get your nuts and bolts nice and tight and loosened easily if you've got hard to reach places. There's been many times where I've actually had to put this on top of a nut or a bolt, and then I'll grab it with a different tool, and I can use that to leverage when I've got really tight areas that I'm working in. So that's one of the benefits I think about these wrenches that I like the most, is that you've got that adjustability. I actually am not a huge fan of having a swivel head, but these are tight enough that they stay in place. They don't flop back and forth. So this is a 1/4 inch, and wherever I put the wrench on the ratcheting end, it stays there. So that's actually kind of nice. So that's one of the benefits I think this kit has. Again, I think they can definitely improve on the opening and closing of this plastic piece because it's very difficult to open. Same goes for the metric as well. I mean, I like the quality. I like how robust they are. They're super strong. If we get into a bigger size wrench, let me open this up again. Get into a bigger size wrench. I mean, that's a beefy wrench. There's definitely a lot of strength and rigidity. Chrome vanadium, I think, is what it's plated in, so it's pretty tough. It's definitely taken some abuse. There's scuffs and scratches. It's not going to look perfect. I don't think it's as strong as just straight up chrome. It's probably cheaper to coat these, but again, this is an economical set of wrenches and they work great. So that is my little review on the open-end wrench set. So that's a nice thing to have. Let's move on to these wrenches. So these are kind of like a long neck wrench. There is not an open end, so they're a box wrench or they're a ratcheting wrench on both ends. Now these, they're black. I think it's chrome vanadium, but it's a black coating. These, there's not adjustability as far as I know. They do have an Allen key on the back side of the wrench, but they're a little bit tougher to move back and forth. Now again, I can appreciate that. They don't flop like crazy, but they are, yeah, you can hear they're kind of like, I don't know if that's the coating, binding, or what it is. I probably could make some type of an adjustment to this, but I don't want it to flop around. I just feel like it should be a little bit more fluid in the way it moves. Again, not the end of the world. Now, They are labeled on the foam inlay, so you know what size you're grabbing when you pull them out here. I absolutely love the foam inlay. If they sold a bunch of their wrenches and sets of their tools with this foam inlay, or if they could sell this individually, this is a game changer. I would like to open the drawer in my toolbox and have everything be this foam, because you just know when a wrench is missing. It's sturdy, it's labeled on here, and of course it's labeled on your wrench. That's awesome. So that's a huge win. I'm a huge fan of this set. And I've actually put them through the test because I've really put some abuse to them. Because you've got this longer handle, you can get a ton of leverage on a nut and a bolt with these. So, you know, they haven't broke on me, but if they're gonna break, I think your pivot point is gonna be your weak link, and that's where you're gonna probably damage the tool if you put a ton of pressure on it. But again, something that's gonna get scratched up. Not the end of the world, but love the foam inlay for sure. All right, let's go with the torque wrenches. So the 1/2-inch torque wrench, it's in a different box compared to their digital torque wrench. So this, again, one side opens great, the other side opens more difficult. So that's just something I think on their design. It's probably just a cheaper inlay. Not much more to say though. I like that you can put a torque wrench in the box. Now this is a nice big 1/2-inch. It's got a really nice ratcheting 72 tooth head, so that feels good when you're tightening your lug nuts or you're tightening bolts. 10 to 170 foot-pounds, feels great. It's got a nice coupler design. You pull down, you can adjust it. When you store your torque wrenches, of course, store it at the minimum setting. That's what I would advise and recommend, so you don't put pressure on your spring when you're not using it, because that can affect your calibration of what your torque is. So it's got a nice good audible click when you hit your torque yield, so it's a nice wrench. I have been a fan of this for sure. It's not as long as some of the other 1/2-inch wrenches that I've had for a torque wrench, but it's still definitely long enough where I feel like you get enough leverage. You do though, when you're doing some wheels, have to put a little extension on so that you don't rub your finger or your knuckles against the wheels. So, okay, that's the 1/2-inch torque wrench. So again, a little bit difficult to get to it. Now the digital torque wrench. This is the 3/8 digital torque wrench. So you got this clasp style mechanism, much easier to get to. Now this is super cool. They even give you the screwdriver so you can access and replace your battery on it. Let's go ahead, fire it up, show you what it looks like. So here it is. Oh, I think we just hit this button. There we go. Okay, push that button, audible beep, gives you a nice backlight so you can see what your torque is set to. Very nice design. Again, nice 72 tooth head for ratcheting. You've got the ability to turn off your backlight, press and hold, and you can shut it off. So again, nice to have a digital one. I can appreciate that. Definitely a nice to have, especially if you're working on smaller machines where you require to have a torque specification. Working on engines, power sports, stuff like that, you gotta have a torque wrench, and having a digital one is super nice. Again, you got it in a nice case. This is a pretty technical instrument tool, so you wanna make sure you keep it safe. That's why they have a case, that's great. Not much feedback to give you there. Now the bike set, open this up. Again, you got a nice carrying case. Now again, this is something that I love about what they have. You've got your layout of what your kit comes with. You got like a faux carbon fiber padded inlay. So you know if something's missing, it's very clear. Like if your H2 Allen's gone, you know, because it's missing in your kit. So this is awesome. Definitely a very specific kit that you would utilize when you're working on something like a bike, because you've got 6mm, 7, 8, you've got a 1/4 inch, you've got a 10mm, a 13, very specific tools that you're gonna probably use most of the time on stuff like working on a bicycle. So if you're a big mountain biker, this is a great gift set. The torque wrench is nice. Obviously it's just this little 1/4 inch torque wrench, but 20 to 220 inch-pounds. So this is gonna meet all of your needs when you are tightening up all of your hardware. And again, I love the foam inlay. That's something that is just so nice to have, especially when you were working with so many different pieces of equipment. If you're doing a bigger project, it happens fast. All of your tools are everywhere, and you want to make sure you account for them when you're done with your job. So last is this kit here. So I have a little bit of feedback, I think, on this kit. I brought this on a road trip and I used a bunch of the tools in here. It's super nice to have the deep well and the short well. It is a 6-point socket, so you can really get a hold of that nut or that bolt, and you have the confidence versus a 12-tooth or a 12-tooth style socket, 12-point. When you're going to take a bolt off, it's a lot easier, I feel like, to strip them. So having this big surface area to grab hold of a bolt or a nut is really nice. They're very nicely labeled. Now, the standard comes and it's held in place really nicely. But if I opened this upside down without the Suzume label on top, all of these tools, except maybe a couple of them, are going to fall out. They don't hold in place like the ones up top. So if these could be spaced in a way, or if they could tighten up their casing in their box so that you don't accidentally open this upside down, or if somebody doesn't know and they're trying to help you work on a project, you'd have all these sockets and tools everywhere. So that's a pain in the butt. Comes with extensions. You got a 6-inch extension, which is 3/8. You got a 3-inch. You got a nice universal swivel, which is great. And then they have a reducer from 1/2 inch to 3/8, which is super nice. These break all the time, so just having these as backup is super nice. And then the thing I like is they give you this chuck kit. So if I grab my drill here, now I can run my drill with any of these sockets. That is super cool to be able to have that in this kit. Just makes a lot quicker work when you're doing something like taking care of a machine. So that is a good universal kit, super nice. Again, I like that you got the deep well and the short well sockets. Only con is that if you open it upside down, your tools are everywhere. So, all right, so 8 to 19 held all in one piece. Got a nice little case for carrying it. So again, you've got your metric, standard, 1/4 inch, all the way up to 7/8 ratcheting end, and a box open end. So that's really cool. Now with the foam inlay, super big fan, very legible, very nice design, easy to pull a tool out of there. I love that. Definitely wish there was more of this on the market for sure, especially in an economical point. We move over to the digital torque wrench. You got this little clasp system. Open it up. They do have some instructions, so keep this box for sure if you get this tool. Very nice to have this. Perfect little carrying case for it. Can't have too many tools in my opinion, and it's really nice to have a digital torque wrench in the arsenal of tools. 1/2 inch torque wrench. Again, you got the nice case. It's a little bit harder to open. And then you got your easy to function torque wrench. 10 to 170 foot-pounds. You've got Newton meters on one side, foot-pounds on the other. So depending on what the specs are for whatever you're working on, super nice. Your specific bike maintenance toolkit here to take care of your bikes. You got your instructions, torque wrench. There's your faux style carbon fiber inlay, which really looks cool. Easy to pull all the tools out, but everything's got a place and a home, which is super nice. Again, if you're working on bicycles a lot, that's a nice little kit. I definitely like it. Only thing that you would be missing, of course, is if you had some type of project where you wanted to use a Torx head, but it had the need for the hole in the center. This kit doesn't have that. And then we move over here. Make sure when you open it, you see the Suzume on the top. Open it up. You've got your standard shallow well and deep well, little foam inlay to keep everything together and held in place. And then I did flip all these so you could see your sizes. So at the top, you go 8 to 22, the bottom 8 to 22. Got a nice ratchet, this little adapter that goes in your drill, some extensions, swivels, and your reducer from 1/2 inch to 3/8. Definitely a fan. Love having it in my toolbox. I love the Suzume tools. This is just a quick little video to give you guys some input. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. This is kind of the unique review stuff that I'm trying to do on this channel. I'm a huge fan of Suzume. Highly recommend these tools. If you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. They've had great support, great company to work with. 10 out of 10 stars. Appreciate you watching.